It's funny. People who wear glasses but remove them during sex, or at least when they're about to have sex. I just have one question. Is it that you guys can't see other things, or is it that, y'all can see nakedness perfectly? Because I find it a little bit hard to understand.
Get ready for the battle of the sexes.
I honestly wonder whether these guys usually see anything during sex. Or does that mean that if like you're a guy and you have problems seeing, so you use spectacles, that you can always give a good excuse for not finding the G spot and shit? But I don't know. Like, it's usually a very interesting concept because people who have glasses, who always wear glasses, will always talk about, oh, I can't see shit without my glasses. But wait until you get them in the bedroom and it's like, you know what? I don't mind giving Velashe without my glasses on. But, anyways, who am I to complain? I don't have glasses, but, I still can't find shit. So we might as well start this podcast real quick, right? Welcome to Break Time on Westside, your number one break time podcast, coming to you from Nairobi, Kenya. The man on the mic is a man who has still failed to find the G spot. I don't know what's happening. I haven't managed to find it. I think I need help or some tips on this shit because clearly it varies from woman to woman. So it's almost like a different treasure map with each and every different woman. He is none other than I, your tall, dark, and mildly handsome man, Sir Denver B. The show is Battle of the Sexes, your weekly love, sex, and relationship show where we like to take a deep dive into shit. And I'm not gonna lie, this time it's all about the relationships, starting from my complaints all the way till the end. But before I do get to the main topic, I need to complain about couple goals and relationship goals because they're more or less the same thing, but I don't know. Like, maybe there's a difference. Maybe there's like a fine line somewhere. But anyways, they're both implicated in this. Now, there's this thing with a fuck ton of couples. There's a lot of couples, there's a lot of people that like to be a part of relationship goals. And they always do this thing where they're like always trying to do the most so that they can show the world that their bae is better, or they do the most so that the bae can show the world that, like, this guy treats me like a fucking queen or a princess or some shit. And I honestly feel as though this is some shit that goes to unhealthy levels. Like, people be trying to do the most for just the social media clout. This whole thing of trying to show, my bae is doing all of this for me. My bae is so sweet, he does A, B, C, D. Like, it usually puts unnecessary pressure on some people, and for others it can end up ruining things for them because it's like, oh, my bae doesn't do enough for me. Now, my biggest complaint with this is the fact that people just go a little bit too far when it comes to the whole game of, like, just the relationship. Take, for example, this case that I saw just yesterday, which was a story that a woman shared on Twitter about how she wasn't feeling well, and get this, her husband went and bought her a Benz. Like, went out and bought her a car, yet she wasn't feeling well. And yes, I know there's a bunch of you women that'll be out there saying, why can I get such a guy? God, when? Dear future husband, dear potential boyfriend, I hope you're seeing this. And this is the shit that I usually call a little bit too much. Because here's the thing, apparently he bought her a Mercedes-Benz ML. Now, that's for any one of y'all that actually care enough to know about cars. But my issue here is, like, Shorty said she wasn't feeling well. Now, normally, most guys would go and ask her what she's feeling, probably try and get her some meds, get her to the doctor's office for like a checkup or some shit. But no, this guy decides to go and buy her a Benz, and officially this falls in as couple goals. And my problem with all of this isn't the fact that he went and he bought her a Benz. Frankly, it's his money, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. The problem is, it's screwing up the idea of just having a good old-fashioned relationship, like appreciating the simple things. Shorty's all about this whole thing of, it's the little things that count, unless dick is involved. But normally, they usually talk about how it's the thought that counts. Always go for the simple shit. You don't need to be too complex. But guess what? they'll be out online busy saying, God, when I want a boyfriend who can do this for me. It just sets this unnecessary standard that guys are supposed to pull in the name of, trying to make sure that they show that they're good boyfriends. Like last week, we were busy talking about, the guys giving advice. And then people were busy talking about this thing of the guy needs to have more feelings than you. Otherwise, the relationship won't last long. And I usually look at such shit and I look at this whole thing of couple goals. And the thing is, because you can't exactly quantify emotion, you'd probably assume that this guy has more feelings than the shorty. And then it ends up screwing the entire dynamic. Like, this is part of the reason why I have a problem with this thing called couple goals and relationship goals. It's the biggest lie that we have on the internet. Like, just be a simple man and take your shorty to the doctor or get her drugs or, take her to a chemist and get her some meds and shit. Anyways, on to today's topic. Now, I was on Instagram over the past weekend, or just the usual, scrolling through pictures, liking a couple shorties' booty pics here and there, looking at a couple of cars and looking at, all the funny memes and shit. So I was on the explore page and I stumbled upon this Instagram video where some young kid, he looked like he was in his late teens and shit, had gone down on one knee and he was giving his longtime girlfriend, or at least I think it was a longtime girlfriend, a promise ring. Now, this guy was going down on one knee, he was giving the promise ring, and it was because they were both going off to college, and I'm assuming that they'd be super far from each other. And it was this whole promise that she would always be with him and he would always be with her. And I won't lie, like, there's a level of sweetness to that shit. Not to me, but there's someone's girlfriend and maybe someone's boyfriend that would actually find that super sweet. But I looked at the video and I kid you not, the first thing that just popped up in my head is, imagine after like the first sem finding out that she's already been piped by like 4 niggas, or this guy's already started hoeing around and like banging a bunch of babes. But it's more likely that you'd find the babe banging around with a bunch of niggas. And I had literally just had this thought in my head while looking at the video for barely 3 to 5 seconds, and I kind of had to stop myself because damn, I honestly never thought that I was that negative. Like, I know I will always make fun of people and make certain comments and shit, but I never really thought I was that negative. Like, it's not like I know these guys. It's not like I've already seen the outcome a couple of months later. This was something that had just been posted up a couple of hours prior. And it did kind of make me think about the current negativity that is there with a lot of relationships, and more specifically, just trying to do the most in them. Fine, I get it. I know I was complaining about couple goals the other second, but you know what? I was talking about it in a sense of clout. This is something that is a bit more real. Like, there's so much negativity right now on the internet, just around when it comes to relationships, that it just looks like it's not a very good option. Like, it looks like it's not even the most worth it thing that you can do right now, because apparently being in a relationship in this day and age is not a very worthwhile option. Like, yes, you get the affection, you get the care, there's the probability of support, but it's like everyone's been shown all of these issues, everyone's seen all of this relationship drama, that it's just gotten to a point where people don't even expect good shit out of relationships. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you, at some point in my life I really wanted to be in a relationship. Hell, I've had times when I've really wanted to be in relationships, and I can draw that all the way back from like my old R&B days, busy listening to early 2000s and late 90s R&B. That Boys to Men, I'll make love to you type of R&B. Like that Ashanti and Ja Rule type of R&B. Like that type of love where it just felt like, being in love was like one of the best things ever. Like the old days when we would pretty much be seeing Mario doing his songs and you're like, I want a shorty to cuddle with and just sing this song to, or sing this song with. Like that Lloyd and Ashanti type shit. Like that Usher and Alicia Keys type shit. Like, I miss those days. I genuinely miss those times when it looked like being in love was this really, really profound thing where you'd enjoy yourself, where you'd always be happy. And, like, I'm looking at the life that I'm in right now, and it's like, if you're a nigga and you're in love, there's a good chance that you might end up simping. If you're a shorty and you're in love, there's a good chance that you might get cheated on consistently. Like, not even a lot of times, like consistently. Like, it's that bad. And it did kind of make me question, like, were the old days any worse? Were they any better? And I'm not gonna lie, I can't really say I know. I wasn't alive during that time. But it looked like it was a lot better because maybe there was a lot less that we knew about certain relationships. There was no social media, so people weren't hanging each other's dirty linen for people to know. It wasn't during the time where relationship issues was something that everyone in the entire community knew about. Maybe you, her, and a couple of close friends from both ends would know about that shit. But it's like nowadays, you know very well, if shorty is going very far from you, there's a pretty good chance that someone else is gonna lay pipe. Maybe after an argument. Maybe people have been seeing the fact that, you know what, I've got a lot of options. I might as well use them up while I have them. And, you know, goes and lays pipe, goes and takes pipe in regards to gender and sexuality and shit. But it's like, at the end of it, people are still gonna go back and be like, oh, you know, me and my baby, you know, me and my girlfriend, my boyfriend. And it looks like, you know, everything's fine and dandy. And then that just tarnishes everything, because it's like now the people that know the truth, that you belong to the streets, that you've been playing your mans, that you've been playing your lady, like, it just makes the whole idea of being in the relationship so much worse to contend with. How the hell did we get to a level whereby doing the most could either make you look really good or just really, really bad, dependent on how it is that, you know, Bay gets to treat you? Like, how did it get to that level? Cause, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, back in the day, people used to do the most for their girlfriends, for their boyfriends, because they loved them, because they cared. But nowadays, it's like, whenever it comes down to doing the most, it's not even about whether they like it or they won't. It's just about the kind of clout that it'll get, and maybe, just maybe, if it's a way to sort of have your partner stay with you. Cause you hear about a nigga that's taken a shorty on trips, a nigga who gets the shorty the new iPhone just after it drops. I know that shit. The type of niggas that won't even mind paying for a shorty's school. Like, that's parental type shit. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been called daddy for a lot less, but there's a nigga that is willing to go out of his way and do that shit. But you know what? He doesn't get the full thing. He doesn't get that full-on love. And at the end of it, it just looks like utter and complete clownery. Like, no word of a lie. How many times have you heard of a nigga who gets to do so much for his babe, for a babe even? Doesn't even have to be his. Probably the nigga feels some shit for her. Just for, you know, the shorty to end up with some other nigga, and the guy ends up feeling like a complete clown. And I kid you not, the public, the people that know about this situation will come back and be like, yo, after you did all that, and then all of a sudden, it ends up looking really bad. But if shorty ends up with you, if you continue living up to it and doing some of that shit as a guy, you end up looking like you're this top tier boyfriend. And at the same time, you know, it kind of opens you up to the rest of the hyenas, because now the shorties are gonna be like, that's a proper boyfriend. I want one of those. Actually, correction, I want that nigga. And suddenly it's like you automatically high demand. Back in the day, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I kind of miss it when, like, niggas used to do the most to some degree. I'm not saying that I want to, but I miss how guys used to do the most. Like, I remember the old stories that, you know, some of our parents, some of our uncles would tell us about, you know, how they managed to get the love of their lives, what they did, you know, the lengths they went. You know, like, there were some niggas I used to call at the same time each and every single day just to get the babe. You know, like the sending the letters, emailing like on a daily, if you know you were at that level, or if your parents were young enough to use email at the time and, you know, had the access. Like, back then, when it seemed like you had to be super sweet to get the shorty, or, you know, the guy, like, I kid you not, like, that was some of the shit that sort of made up our childhoods. because some of us would have a crush on our babe and it's like, I want to go look for a flower and give it to her. Like, hell, I'm not gonna lie, like that shit sounds stupid right now. Hell, I have gotten more done with less. I kid you not. But that is besides the point. Like, I do genuinely miss that. Because right now we're at a level where it's like, if you do the most before the relationship, you're not getting the shorty. But you get the shorty and then you do the most and then you lose the shorty, you're still losing out. Because like, take for example, like there's this Chinese guy back in the day. I can't remember what year it was, but I think it was around 2013, 2014. Like this guy went and bought like a ton of iPhones, arranged them in a heart shape, and then used it as a way to propose to a certain shorty. And guess what? Like, nigga got rejected. Like, that was the sweet shit that us guys used to go and pull. And we know that, you know what, I'm gonna get this shorty. Like, that was the sweet shit that we used to look forward to when we were kids. But it's like nowadays, the douches are the ones getting them. Nowadays, you do that sweet shit and you're getting friend zoned. Like, that's the shit that probably hurts me the most to this day. Cause I genuinely do miss that throwback love. I genuinely do miss the life and the time where being in a relationship for a long time meant that you guys were a really, really good couple. That was the goal. Like, people wanted to get into good, long-lasting relationships. Like, I miss those times when people used to say that the shortest relationship they've been in is like a 3-year relationship. Like, I genuinely do miss that time. And to be completely honest, I do miss that throwback love. That throwback love that would have Usher busy dancing in the rain at night, busy trying to talk about how you got it bad and shit. That kind of throwback love that would have Mario hop into his Range Rover, go back to his babe who had cheated on him. And mind you, like, he went in a range. Like, man's had a range and he still went back for shorty. Like, I'm not gonna lie. If I had the range right now and shorty cheats on me, hell, I'm driving out and the first babe I see, I holler at her and I tell her, you know what, hop in, let's go for a drive real quick. But this nigga went back. Like, that was the good times. Like, right now, you're looking at that shit. If I go back to shorty to apologize, guess what? I'm gonna be looked at as a simp. Hell, I'm gonna be referred to as a clown because that's utter clownery. How dare she chooses to leave you, a quote-unquote king, just for you to go back and apologize. A king don't go back and apologize and say, I'm sorry, or you know what, we should get back together. A king is supposed to move on, or some of that shit. Like, I genuinely miss that throwback love. Like, that was the shit that made up most of our childhoods. And I feel as though as we've grown older and people have gotten more access to information and have seen that people can cheat and, you know, people can fuck around, it's like people are busy trying to one-up each other. The whole phase is right now more than ever the in shit to do. Like, it's the thing that everyone wants to do. Because for some reason, it's like everyone feels good when they're in the whole phase. And the truth of the matter is, that's utter bullshit. Not everyone is built for the whole phase. I was talking to a shorty not too long ago, a pretty good friend of mine. She had gotten out of a relationship and she was like, you know, once this corona is done, I'm hopping into my whole phase, full-fledged into it. But I ended up talking to her not too long ago, like a couple of weeks ago. And then she's like, you know what? Like, I'm actually thinking about it and I don't want that. Like, I don't think I'm built for the whole phase. Because ideally, I'm someone who'll go and bang and feelings are supposed to be involved, or feelings will be involved eventually. Like, for me, when I bang, I do it intimately. Like, I'm the type of shorty who, even though I fuck, I still make love. Nah, I'm saying? So I understood that shit. But it's like, people are still gonna continue talking as if everyone deserves a whole phase. Like, everyone needs to be hoeing. Like, people just need to be fucking around because that's the only thing that we want or need. And the truth is, we don't. We genuinely don't. Not all of us are built for the whole phase, and for some reason, I think we're just trying to hurt other people, or we're just trying to console ourselves, or we're just trying to build up the clout. So honestly, I think that as a society, as a people, we should probably change our outlook. Maybe we should go back to that old school love. I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm no longer an advocate for doing the most, but do it because you feel like it. Like, do it because that's something you genuinely want to do. This whole thing of, if I do too much, I'm simping. If I do too little, I'm an asshole or I'm a douchebag. Ditch that shit. Just do what you feel is best. Like, that's some real shit that I think I probably never spit, but I probably should have, because clearly the way I'm looking at relationships going, it's becoming super hard for people to appreciate what a good relationship is like. And since I'm your number one man for that Love, Sex and Relationship podcast, I should tell all of y'all that. So as I conclude this podcast episode, I'ma say this. We should probably stop being a little bit more appreciative of the relationship. Not just ours, but even other people's. And even being more positive about them. Like seeing the good in shit. And actually trying to bring the best out of a relationship and shit. We should probably also stop aiming for couple goals. Or stop trying to get pressured by couple goals. Like them shits is just on the internet to make people feel bad about their own relationships. Because clearly, someone's trying to brag to us that their relationship is just that good. So stop letting that shit get to you. Like, appreciate the relationship for the goodness that it carries, for the good thing that it is. And whatever the hell is outside of it that's trying to criticize it, just leave it alone. It probably don't even need to be there, But anyways, I want to know your thoughts on this. Do you also miss that throwback love? The DMs are open. The Instagram handle is at Breaktime on Westside. The Facebook page is also at Breaktime on Westside. And on Twitter, if you want to hit up my personal DMs, it is at Bagaka the D. I will catch you guys on the next break. Take care.